my friends, and without further ado, let's start with the direction from Zaporizhia. Here, the Ukrainian armed forces are pushing forward, and it seems that the resistance of the Russians has become tiresome for our command. Therefore, yesterday evening, the occupiers began raising alarm in social media, reporting that in the Orikhiv area, no less than 40 units of military equipment have entered and are preparing for a strong offensive. We are eagerly waiting the Ukrainian armed forces to truly break through the enemy's defense. However, it's currently reported that there are tactical successes in the Verbove area. Several days ago, there were official announcements of successes in the Kopany area as well. But because these successes are tactical, the front line remains unchanged and the battles continue. Meanwhile, the occupiers have a sufficient number of forces to repel attacks. In addition, battles are ongoing in the Novoprokopivka area. The occupiers are attempting to advance towards Robotyne to maximize their efforts to deter our units from new attacks. By doing so, they are buying time to extensively mine the area. Since active efforts are underway today to increase the number of mines from Novoprokopivka to Verbove area across the fields, it will be more challenging for the Ukrainian armed forces to advance in this sector. Therefore, the counteroffensive is not expected to yield significant results. This is precisely what the Russians are trying to achieve with their actions. Moreover, to facilitate the transportation of ammunition, equipment, and personnel to this direction, a new railway is being constructed directly from Russian territory to Melitopol. There may also be an additional road. It's evident that the occupiers are actively trying to develop infrastructure to maintain control of the occupied territory. However, the Ukrainian armed forces are aware of the locations where the occupiers are stationed and are disrupting them in both Melitopol and Tokmak. This is why reports of explosions near the locations of Russian bases are emerging once again. Okay, before we continue, I ask you to share this video on social media and watch it until the end, as it greatly helps promote my channel. Thank you. In the Vuhledar direction, the occupiers, failing to achieve success, have halted their offensive actions and the situation has stabilized. Once again, the Russians have suffered losses and retreated to their previous positions. Although they managed to advance quite far and there were concerns that they could consolidate their positions, the Ukrainian armed forces, as always, are doing their impossible and breaking apart all Russian formations. In the Kherson direction, there are only sporadic shelling incidents. The occupiers along the front line cannot make any significant progress. Therefore, they have focused solely on attacks on Kherson and other populated areas. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian armed forces haven't advanced to the left bank as of now. In the Bakhmut direction, there are ongoing clashes both in the Klishchiivka area and near Andriivka. The occupiers are still amassing a significant amount of equipment through Lugansk, which is observed daily. They maintain an advantage in terms of the quantity of manpower and equipment. Periodically, there are reports of airstrikes on Ukrainian positions. However, despite all the challenges, the front line remains unchanged. Ukrainian forces are unable to advance further, but they are successfully holding their defensive positions. Meanwhile, the occupiers are attempting to destabilize the situation and advance on the northern flank in an effort to stretch our forces thin. They hope to break through our defenses with fewer Ukrainian units to oppose them. However, they haven't been successful, and the fighting in this direction of Bogdanivka also continues. Ukrainian forces released a video showing the capture of a wounded commander from the volunteer battalion Alga 72. When asked if Ukrainian artillery is effective against the Russians, he stated that it has caused them significant casualties. Overall, the destruction of the Russian army continues. In the Avdiivka direction, The occupiers continue fighting toward Avdiivka. They cannot encircle the city, so they are attempting to break through to the outskirts, but without success. The Ukrainian forces are achieving success in this regard. Further south, in Marinka, there are ongoing battles on the outskirts and there are attempts to break into Novomykhailivka. However, there have been no changes along the front line and the tactical successes claimed by the Russians in this direction are not confirmed. In the Kupiansk direction, this situation is complex and fighting continues. The occupiers have managed to amass a significant amount of manpower and equipment. As a result, battles have been ongoing in this direction for several days without a pause. All attacks are supported by tanks and artillery. Despite Russian claims of success in the Sinkivka area, the Ukrainian side hasn't confirmed any advancements. Consequently, the front line remains unchanged. Today, there are only 7 kilometers from the front line to Kupiansk. It seems that the Russians are once again facing a major setback because they have deployed significant forces, but there is still no progress. Ukrainian forces, as always, are doing the impossible to hold back an enemy that outnumbers them in terms of strength. Additionally, a representative of Russia at the UN claimed that Ukrainian forces killed the residents of the village of Grozan.
Сразу бросается в глаза. Как известно, в момент удара там проходили похороны одного из высокопоставленных украинских националистов. Разумеется, в них участвовало множество его подельников, неонацистов. Не случайно на снимках, опубликованных в соцсетях сразу после удара, почти все тела на снимках принадлежат мужчинам призывного возраста. С такими ситуациями мы уже сталкивались не раз. Киевский режим заламывал руки по погибшим в результате ударов по гостиницам, общежитиям, кафе, магазинам и так далее. А потом появлялось большое количество некрологов военных и иностранных наемников. Такое вот случайное совпадение. Не исключаем, что так же будет и с грозой. Напоминаем, что если киевский режим концентрирует в каком-то...
Overall, as it seems, things are slipping out of their hands. Okay, in the Svatova direction, which was previously stable on the front line, there is a decrease in activity and even the number of artillery shelling incidents is minimal. Attacks on Makiyivka continue near Kremina. Here, the occupiers are indeed losing a significant amount of equipment and manpower, but they continue to deploy new units into the battle. They regroup between attacks and the battles hardly ever cease. Yet the front line remains unchanged. Makiyivka, as before, remains under the control of the Ukrainian armed forces. In the meantime, Kadyrov recorded a video in support of Hamas terrorists.
Ассаламу алейкум. Приветствуем всех. Хочу затронуть тему, которая сегодня происходит на территории Палестины и Израиля. И хочу мировое сообщество призвать, чтобы хотя бы в жизни один раз справедливо отнеслись в этих ситуациях. 50 лет назад было то же самое там. Особенно хочу призвать мусульманских стран, чтобы они вмешались, создали коалицию и призвали своих друзей, европейцев, Запад.
It is also interesting to know that Lavrov has begun talking about Russia's readiness for negotiations.
По просьбе наших друзей мы рассказали о нынешнем положении дел в ситуации вокруг Украины, наше отношение к различным призывам начать переговоры. Президент Путин многократно, в том числе совсем недавно на Алтайском форуме, нашу позицию изложил четко. Мы никогда не отказывались от переговоров, если они предлагаются на серьезной основе, а не в виде ультиматумов. И, конечно же, мы видим категорический отказ проводить любых переговоров, кроме как на основе так называемой формулы Зеленского, которая представляет из себя не что иное, это чисто пропагандистский, абсолютно нереализуемый проект.
And what are your thoughts on this? Write them in the comments. That's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.